I'm Steve Govett. You're back in the TFL Kitchen this week. What a great week it was. Beautiful week in San Diego. Want to shout out to Jimmy Langley, good buddy, other really good friends here, playing a lot of golf, getting some beach time. What a wonderful week. You know what? Shout out also the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Liberty going into the bubble to play a lot of basketball in the upcoming weeks. PLL coming up soon. Gotta get excited for those guys, all those lacrosse guys, and coming into Salt Lake City, getting ready to play. Man, I can't wait to watch that on television. Very special dish this week, Lamb Kleftiko. I had this on my 25th wedding anniversary trip to Greece last fall. Fell in love with it, ate it on the Plaka in Athens. Man, it's unbelievable. It's lamb shanks, which I marinated all night long. And on those, on the marinade, we had a little olive oil, lemon juice. I threw some garlic cloves in there, some oregano, some cinnamon, and we let it sit overnight. So these are ready to go. I'm super excited to put them. You put them on a bed of potatoes, other vegetables. We're gonna have all that in parchment paper. We're gonna cook it for about 3 hours in the oven on a medium heat around 350. And then we're gonna open that up. We're gonna drop some feta in there and some other cheeses. Oh boy, I'm so excited. This is gonna be really good, folks. Come along for the ride. So take a bunch of small red potatoes and just slice them in half, right? Get a bunch of them. The best thing about this particular recipe is you don't have to measure a thing. You literally just throw a bunch of stuff in the bottom of the parchment paper along with our lamb shanks. That meat is gonna get so tender, it's gonna fall off the bone, and the juices with the olive oil, the lemon juices, and the garlic are gonna mix in with all the vegetables, and this thing is gonna make the house smell good, and guess what? It's gonna taste so good. All right, we're gonna put some carrots in there as well. So just slice up, 4 or 5 carrots, whatever you feel good with. Drop them in your bowl. And then you're gonna take red onion. Isn't that onion perfect? I love red onions, but these are purple. They remind me so much of the seals. They place in my heart, right? These are seals onions. So good. All right, and the last vegetable you're gonna get is a wide array of peppers. So the red peppers, the green, and some orange. This thing's gonna be super flavorful, but super colorful as well. It's time to get everything ready to go into the oven. And so to start, we're just gonna get a big baking pan. And then we're gonna put, I crisscross some cooking string here, so some twine just to tie this thing together. But then you go with your parchment paper, and you just drop the parchment paper across here, and then across here in an X, so that you got a great base for all that really rich, goody stuff. Once we got that parchment paper in there, we're gonna just start dropping our potatoes and make a good base with our potatoes and our carrots on the bottom. Potatoes are in. Now we're gonna add a little bit of the marinade that we had for the meat. And we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil in there. Just sprinkle that in, be generous. Sprinkle some olive oil in there. Whatever makes you feel good. Some lemon juice in there. Gonna give it some good flavor. Salt and pepper on top of those potatoes and the carrots. All right, a little salt. All right, last thing in at the bottom with the potatoes, we're gonna take some garlic cloves. And I always tell you, garlic is measured in love. So I don't care how many you want to put in there, just as many as you feel good. So we're gonna drop a few kind of around it. That's gonna give a great aroma, great taste throughout the day. So get the garlic in there. Next, we're gonna put the onions and the peppers in. And you wanna just spice that up with a little oregano. Dried oregano, just generously put it on there. And I think we're good. So we got all our vegetables in the base. Now we're gonna take these great lamb shanks that have been marinating overnight. Remember, we put olive oil and lemon juice and garlic on those. A little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cinnamon. And we're gonna put that in there and just take those lamb shanks over the top here. Put them on top of all those vegetables. You see that juice we've had it marinating in? You pop that on top of that. So good. And then just a splash of water. You want to keep everything moist while it's cooking in the oven for 3 hours. That's ready to go. We're gonna tie that up and then we're gonna get it in the oven. We got this parchment paper all tightened up. The string is tied away. Now you just gotta cover that up. So the key to this is to make sure that we try and keep as much of the moisture inside so it steams and cooks all together and that aroma stays in there. So we're gonna cover it up with some tin foil. Make sure that's good and tight on there. Hit the tin foil, all ready to go. I'll tell you what, you can use this with a lot of different types of meats. The story behind Lamb Kleftiko is that these dudes were out in the middle of nowhere in Greece and they had these meals and they would capture their goat or they'd capture their sheep or whatever, and they'd want to cook this stuff, but they didn't want people to steal it. So Kleftiko, by the Kleftars, was put under the ground to keep it away, and they tightened it up in parchment paper so that nobody could smell their food and steal it. Remember, Kleftiko, kleptomaniac, that's where the word comes from in Greece. So we're not gonna put this down in a pit, we're gonna put it in the oven for 3 hours, and then hopefully this thing's gonna smell so good. So for all you people following along at home, and I know there's a bunch of you that love to make my dishes every week, because I get these calls, right, from firehouses all over the North America, although they want to feed a lot of people. So these guys come to me and they're calling me all the time. They're saying, Steve, chef, what do I do? And I say, you put this in the oven, 350, 3 hours. We're gonna pop that in and we're gonna open it up. We're gonna drop the cheese and the tomatoes in. 3 hours later, this thing's been cooking a long time. The house smells so amazing. So we're gonna pull it out and then we're gonna drop a few more morsels in there, put it back in for a bit. So we gotta open this up and show all of the goodness inside the parchment paper. Look at that lamb, it's coming right off the bone. So here we're gonna take some dry white wine. We're just gonna drizzle that a little bit over there. A couple butter pats. Some tomato. Some Gouda. We got some Gouda all cut up here. I'm gonna drop a few cheese pieces in there. Tomato. And now we're gonna drizzle that with feta cheese all over. That feta cheese, we're gonna put it back in the oven. We're gonna melt this whole thing in together. A little more tomato, a little more Gouda. Feeling so good. Moment of truth. Taking it out of the oven, we put the cheese in, we put the tomatoes in, a little bit of wine. We're gonna cut it open and just see how it looks. Oh, look at all that goodness in there. So this has been cooking for 3.5 hours on about 350, 375 degrees. We're gonna try and pull this bone out of here because this will show you just how tender that meat is as the bone just kind of comes pulling off there. Lamb Kleftiko ready to go. The savory meat all over the potatoes, the peppers, the onions, the carrots, a little bit of cheese, some wine and olive oil. It's all together. And the meat, so good. It's so good. Come back and see us next week in the TFL Kitchen. Who knows what we do then? Lamb Kleftiko. really good. Try it at home.